Wokery is part of the Marxist agenda, along with ESG, along with the 1619 movement and BLM.
What do you think woke means?
I think that there's an attack on regular family values that have been consistently themed in the United States for hundreds of years.
BlackRock and others and all these woke corporations.
We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
Everywhere you go these days, you hear the term woke. There's a war on woke.
And because woke represents a war on the truth, we must wage a war on the woke.
There are woke corporations.
This is all because rich white liberals on Wall Street feel guilty about being billionaires. So they force companies to go woke to pay off the social justice gods.
There's even a woke virus.
Oh, look, it's my best friend, Adam Baird. No, he's infected. Pfft, with what? The woke mind virus.
I mean, you have talked about this woke mind virus.
Yes.
In really apocalyptic terms.
But I had to ask myself, what is woke? Some people use this word very frequently, even on national TV, and don't know what it means.
Would you mind defining woke? Because it's come up a couple times, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
So, I mean, woke is sort of the idea that this is going to be one of those moments that goes viral. I mean, woke is something that's very hard to define, and we've spent an entire chapter defining it. It is sort of the understanding that we need to totally reimagine and redo society in order to create hierarchies of oppression. It's hard to explain in a 15-second soundbite.
Well, she doesn't know, so I'll tell you. Woke is a term originally created by the African American community, which basically means that one has woken up out of an intellectual slumber. To be woke means to be awake. Well, awake to what? Being awake means to be awake to the fact that for a long time, opportunities in America weren't open to a lot of people. Historical fact. White male property owners had the right to vote in the 1700s. In the 1800s, white men generally got the right to vote. In the 1870s, after a war called the Civil War, black men got the right to vote, but it was largely denied by the states until the 1960s. In 1920, white women got the right to vote. That means for 170 years, the only people that could make the rules about how this country was governed were white men, and until the 1960s, the only people that could vote generally were white. Black people couldn't vote, and gay people couldn't even exist. That would be like playing a game of Monopoly with 6 people, 1 black guy, 2 women, 1 man, and 1 gay guy for 220 years, and only one of those people could make rules. Well, who do you think would win at that game? Wokeness, being awake, basically means acknowledging the fact that for a long time in America, though everyone had to work and some people worked for free to build this country, only a small group of people had opportunities. Everyone else had to live on the margins. Being awake means that you're aware that now that America is the richest and currently the most powerful country in the world, maybe we should give opportunities to women, black people, gay people, and anyone else who didn't have the seat at the table for centuries. That's all wokeness is. At the heart of wokeness is kindness. It's the idea that people who got theirs because the deck was basically stacked against a bunch of other people say, okay, we know we got a lot and you didn't get much or any, so we're not going to be jerks about it anymore. It's your time to shine. That's all it is. That's all wokeness is. It's basically saying that you won't be a jerk. At the heart of being awake is the idea that society has been very unfair to gay people, black people, and women. At the end of the day, being awake or woke is about one thing: kindness. It's basically saying, look, you've been beaten, robbed, killed, impoverished, and mistreated for hundreds of years. So let's recognize that and be sensitive to it. Now, this idea does not mitigate that there are lots of poor, working-class white people. Matter of fact, before Martin Luther King Jr. was shot, his goal was to unify inner-city blacks and poor rural whites in order to cure the economic injustice that plagued both groups.
What do you have in store for us this summer?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know about the summer. I guess I should begin with what we have in store for the spring. I feel that we are in the midst of a most critical period in our nation, and the economic problem is probably the most serious problem confronting the Negro community, and I might say the most serious problem confronting poor people generally. And I don't want to be narrow about this, talking only about the black poor in our country, because I must be concerned about Puerto Ricans who are poor, Mexican Americans, American Indians, and Appalachian whites.
He saw this inner city poverty and rural poverty as two sides of the same coin. Wokeness does not mean taking things away from heterosexual white people. Being awake just means recognizing that there's enough to go around for everyone, but that you should make sure that society gives people a chance who never got a chance. A common refrain about wokeness is that there is corporate wokeness.
So how does this actually work? These guys are telling the truth?
Jesse, thanks for having me this morning. I mean, here's how it works. It's pretty simple. You just have to follow the money. If you take a look at BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, they manage $20 trillion worth of capital. But it's not their own money. This is the money of everyday citizens, firefighters, police officers, doctors, who generally have their money either via 401ks or, in a lot of cases, large pension funds. Large pension funds like the state of California, which manages the largest pension fund in the U.S., and the state of New York, and then European pension funds as well. And a lot of the politicians in those states, in California, for example, they recently have mandated those large pension funds that they divest from things like fossil fuels and oil and gas. And then when Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York, was there, did the same thing. But they also tell BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, if they're going to manage their money, they have to commit to things like ESG, diversity, equity, inclusion, and adopt firm-wide commitments that they therefore then force onto all the major companies in corporate America.
So the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, says to a BlackRock, we're not going to send you our $100 billion state pension if you're going to invest in ExxonMobil. We're only going to send it to you guys if you guys are going to invest it in woke companies. And then that's what these places do. They invest it in these woke companies. They make them woker.
It's commonly referred to as ESG. So what is ESG? ESG means environmental, social, and governance. It's the idea that corporations should have more concerns than just their profits.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
But rather should also pay attention to the environment and societal needs, and how they govern themselves. This isn't about politics. It's just good business. State Farm just announced they will no longer insure any homes in the state of California due to climate change. Major insurance companies in Florida are now refusing to insure homes there due to flooding and storm surges beyond the normal hurricane seasons.
Property owners in multiple states are facing skyrocketing premiums and hard to get coverage, but the insurance industry itself says Florida's market is in full meltdown.
How about a sandwich?
Steve and Jill Seligman have lived in their Wellington, Florida home since 2004. This year, their longtime insurer, United Property and Casualty, dropped them.
In Florida, how can you have a house without homeowners insurance?
flood insurance in Kentucky has increased 400%, pricing many homeowners out of the market. Investors on Wall Street, people who own a lot of mortgages, real estate, and stocks, are basically telling every corporation you must pay attention to the environment because you can't sell any Coca-Cola if every store is on fire. And you can't sell any Toyotas if they're floating down the street because of flooding. Many large finance firms are telling corporations without the environment, no business at all can exist. Therefore, E, environment. So what's the S? Societal. Societal is very simple. It's simply saying, look, 40% of America is not white and another 10% is gay. Societal simply means that those who haven't had opportunities among that 50% need opportunities, because you can't have a society where 40% of the population has very little material wealth, because that's apartheid. That's not good for business at all. Don't believe me?
Demonstrations against the South African government's strict apartheid policies flare into shocking violence. At Sharpsville, an industrial township, thousands gather outside a police station in protest against new laws requiring every African to carry a pass at all times. The crowd refused to disperse and began stoning the police, who opened fire into the crowd from behind a wire fence. In 2 days of demonstrations that began here, between 50 and 100 were killed and hundreds injured.
Yeah, apartheid doesn't work. Finally, G, governance. It basically means that if you're a corporation, govern yourself appropriately. That's very simple. That means, hey bro, don't poison the water, 3M. Don't blow up towns, Union Pacific. Don't poison the air and say it's not happening, ExxonMobil. That's all it means. So yeah, if you want to know what being woke is, being awake, it basically means don't be a jerk, be kind, be considerate of the life experience of others, whether you're a person, a politician, or a corporation. That's it. Signing off. Peace. Hey, if you like this video, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. We would love to see you again. So take it easy. Peace.